Today, I'm very happy to say this officially. Welcome to Stage 2, Alberta. Beginning this morning, even more restrictions have been eased or lifted, and we are so much closer to a post-pandemic reality. Albertans can now go back to their gyms, go to their favorite restaurant with friends, attend small outdoor concerts. Faith groups can gather for congregational worship at up to one-third capacity. Up to 20 people can socialize outdoors. Personal and wellness services can resume walk-in service. Museums, theaters, cinemas, art galleries, and libraries can all open. Youth activities like play centers and adult sports activities and so much more can resume as of today. This is an exciting time for our province as we move into the last phase of this brutal pandemic. Our second stage keeps strong measures in place to help keep cases moving downward while we continue vaccinating as many people as we can. We've also focused on doses for Albertans age 12 and older, not just 18 and older like many other places. And we did this because it's the safest approach and the best way to get open and to stay open for good. The foundation of all this is vaccines. We've now administered more than 3.2 million doses in Alberta. And as of today, 67.8% of all Albertans aged 12 and over have been vaccinated with their first dose. With 251,000 appointments booked in the coming days, we're not far from hitting the 70% threshold of first doses necessary to move on to stage 3 to full openness. But first dose demand is slowing. We need everyone to do their part. So the full opening of our province is in the hands of Albertans, especially those of you who have been maybe a little undecided about getting vaccinated. Please help us so you can get out to enjoy a great Alberta summer by signing up today to get your first dose. Of course, first doses are only part of our drive to protect Alberta. It was just last week that we kicked off the start of second doses well ahead of our original schedule, and Albertans have heard the call. Since the 1st of June, we've seen a tremendous uptick in vaccine bookings. Albertans who received their vaccines, their first dose vaccines, back in March or earlier, have now largely booked their second doses. And when we announced the start of second dose bookings for Albertans last week, we said that those vaccinated in the month of April, like myself, would be able to book their next shot starting on June 14th, and that those vaccinated in May could do that on the 28th. But we also said that if incoming supply of vaccines allowed it, we'd open up more second dose bookings faster. So I'm very happy to announce today that we have achieved that, and we are speeding up the second doses for Albertans who received their first shot in the month of April, and we're doing that a week ahead of when we planned. Effective immediately, anyone who received their first dose in April can begin booking their second dose through Alberta Health Services or through participating pharmacies, and you can see which ones those are by going to the Alberta Blue Cross website. This means an additional 650,000 Albertans can now start booking their second doses right now. This is great news, not just for those who will be fully vaccinated sooner than they thought, but for everyone in the province who will benefit from widespread immunity. Every day we can get further ahead of schedule is another day closer to the end of the pandemic. I'm sure many of you are already patiently waiting in the booking queue as we speak, and you can get online and do that right now. With so many more Albertans able to book, phone lines and online booking systems for pharmacies and Alberta Health Services will be busy, especially in the first hours of expanded eligibility. I'm sure people understand that, so we'll ask for some patience, particularly today, tomorrow. If you can't find an appointment at a time that is convenient for you, please continue to check back as more appointments are being added every single day. Everyone who wants a second dose will be able to get one in the next few weeks. As Dr. Hinshaw mentioned last week, our own Alberta data proves that these vaccines are safe and remarkably effective. Since January the 1st, 96% of all confirmed COVID-19 cases in Alberta were either in individuals who were unvaccinated or who were diagnosed within 2 weeks of receiving their first dose, while their immunity was still building. The same holds true for 93% of COVID-19 cases that needed hospital care, and for 88% of deaths related to this disease. For those who have doubts, just look around you. There are literally millions of your neighbors and Albertans who have the vaccine now. They are well and they are safe. In fact, we've reported fewer than 500 adverse health responses to more than 3 million doses administered, meaning that 99.99% of vaccinations in Alberta have had no significant negative health effects. I'm pleased to see that we've made significant progress addressing and combating vaccine hesitancy, as they call it, in the province. But despite this progress, I'm still hearing that some believe that if others are protected, then they don't have to be. Well, I would say that's not the Alberta way to let others determine our destiny. Our opening, I should say, is not guaranteed, Alberta. We need to continue getting first doses into arms if we want to reach stage 3 and full openness. And we also, of course, need to keep adding on to the second dose protection. So please sign up to get your dose. Show up to get it, and make sure to follow up with your second dose as soon as you're eligible. Thank you to every Albertan who is doing their part by signing up and showing up for their appointments, getting us closer to the finish line. And actually, I wanted to just add a personal note, because I know that some misinformation is circulating about the safety and the efficacy of these vaccines. In recent days, I had a friend in his 70s pass away as a result of a COVID-19 infection. And I'm told by mutual friends that he had hesitated to get his vaccine because he had heard conflicting and confusing information about its safety. So I also have a friend, in this case in their 80s, his 80s, who is fighting for his life in intensive care with a COVID-19 infection. Again, likewise, this individual had been told that the COVID vaccines were unsafe and had heard lots of misinformation about the vaccines. So, folks, please, if you are hearing that kind of misinformation, please go online to Alberta Health Services, to official websites that are with scientific validated data to get your information. Please, if you have friends, neighbors, or members of your family who are holding back because of misinformation, please politely challenge them that they are putting their own health at risk, and they're also potentially could be the source of transmission to others who would be vulnerable. I don't want anyone else to end up in an ICU ward, or worse yet, passing away from this disease at the very last stages of the pandemic because of that kind of misinformation. So we all have a responsibility to combat that as well.